YouTube, what's up, man? It's your boy Richardson from Minimum Wage to Millionaire. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here, welcome back. So as I promised you guys, I'm meeting you guys with 3 videos this week. So let's get on the second one. In today's video, I just want to quickly discuss the benefits of 401ks and IRAs and how you could combine saving for your retirement, which is something that in the American culture, you guys can see that a lot of elder people are struggling to retire. So with these type of investment vehicles, which is the 401k and IRA, how you could save for retirement while also getting tax benefits, whether it's on the front end with traditional or on the back end with Roth. So if you guys just stay tuned with me, I'll detail what these accounts are, specify what they are, how you could use them, and what pros and tips and tricks you could do to maximize your efficiency with these accounts. So let's get into it. So first I want to describe to you guys what the 401k and IRA is. Let's start with the 401k. The 401k is an employer sponsor retirement account. Keyword employer sponsor, meaning that to get a 401k, you would have to get it through a job, right? You can't open a 401k by itself. Now, there's different, classifications of the 401k. Like if you work for a nonprofit, technically a nonprofit is not an employer, but they have a 401k similar product called a 403b, which is essentially the same as the 401k. If you are uniformed men and women out there that are serving for the military, you guys will probably see that it's known as a TSP or a thrift saving plan. Again, very similar to a 401k. So just because you don't hear the word 401k, if it's something that's sponsored by the thing you're working for, nonprofit, employer, or TSP, like if you work for the military, it pretty much acts the same. Now, the benefits of this is that the IRS will allow you to contribute, meaning you putting your money on, up to, for 2026, $24,500, right? So that's $24,500 that you could put in this vehicle. And whether you go traditional, which just means that you're getting the tax savings up front. So when you contribute, you're contributing with pre-tax dollars, or Roth, meaning that you're putting the money in, it's already taxed. But when you take it out, and we'll go a little bit later on the type of rules and structures in order for you to withdraw it without any penalties or taxes. If you wait to that, then you'll pay taxes only on the back end. But on the Roth, when you put in post-tax dollars or money that's already taxed, you get it tax-free when you bring it out. So that's really only the real major difference. You could contribute $24,500, but if you are 50 and above, so for my older audience members, if you are 50 and above, the IRS will allow you to contribute an additional $8,000. So if you combine the $24,500, which is the standard contribution limit, plus the $8,000, you could contribute up to $32,500 into your retirement, which is very, very good. Now, how likely can the average American max that retirement account? Probably unlikely, right, for the vast majority of us, just because you have to make a pretty good amount of money, plus you have other obligations that you have to pay for. And like I said in the channel's name, I'm a minimum wage worker to a millionaire, and I'm far from being a millionaire, right? I'm a lot closer to minimum age. But the point is that you could contribute and have that money start to work for you in the compounding of not only compound interest, right, which is just your money working to make money for you, and then that interest that you just earned is also earning interest on top of that. So it just becomes this big snowball that works in your favor. So that's why when these retirement accounts, you want to start as early as you possibly can. I used to have the mindset before I became really financially, affluent. And I won't say I'm financially fluent by any means, but as I started learning about finances, I realized that with these retirement accounts in my early 20s, I was like, why would I start to invest now? But that's kind of the wrong mindset. You should invest now because you could have compound interest working for you and helping you build your wealth and giving you a very good retirement nest fund when you get there. So that's just my tip with the 401k. And again, if you already got a job that offers it, You could be able to do that. And the great thing about 401ks is that a lot of times employers will, because they obviously want to compete for your labor. So a lot of times they'll go out and they'll say, okay, well, we'll give you a 3-4% match on top of that, which is great because it's essentially free money. You're getting paid by your employer, not only through, their match, but you're contributing your money. And then the IRS is giving you tax benefits, again, whether it's on the front end with traditional or on the back end with Roth. So it's almost too good not to pass it up. So before I get into some of the, I won't say cons, or some of the rules that you need to consider, let me jump into what's an IRA. So an IRA is somewhat similar, but it has some differences between a 401k. An IRA it's an acronym that stands for Individual Retirement Account. So when you have an IRA, hence the word individual, you could open up this account directly with any brokerage that offers it, and you could contribute, if you're under 50, you could contribute the max contribution of $7,500 into this account, right? If you are 50 and above, you could actually contribute an additional $1,100, which will boost that up to $8,600 for an individual. And because it is an individual retirement account, both spouses could open up accounts and do it. So it's not like a situation where, if I'm married and we're together in a household, then only one of us can max it out. No, because it's an individual account, it don't go by whether you're married or not. So meaning both you guys can open an account, and if you guys make enough money and it's within your financial means, you guys could both max that out, which emphasizes and gives you double the benefits on it. It's also tax efficient as well, because you can open a traditional and you can open a Roth. Again, similar reasons as I explained earlier in the video. The traditional, you get the tax benefits up front by putting in pre-tax dollars, and you get to deduct that from your taxable income that year you contribute. Or Roth, where you putting post-tax dollars in, but when you withdraw it, assuming you follow the rules and regulations, you're able to get that money out tax-free. So it's very, very great. One of the biggest benefits that you'll notice is that you don't have to have it tied to an employer, or if you're working in the military, a TSP, or a nonprofit, 403B. You could open this account anything. The only couple exceptions or only rules that you'll notice is that in order for you to be able to utilize the individual retirement account, you need to have earned income, right? Because again, this is an account that the government is allowing you to use for tax benefits, but how are they gonna be able to tax you if you're not putting earned income, right? So that's one of the major qualifications. Now with the 401k, that's self-explanatory because you're actually working, so yeah, you're gonna have earned income. But the IRA, so it's not like you could open it for a 3-year-old child that doesn't work and then max out their accounts that way. So that's not how that works. There's other rules and regulations I'll get to a little bit later. But you'll also notice the second thing is that the IRA contribution limits are lower than the 401ks. This is kind of by design because, again, it's not tied to work. The way the government is that the government wants you to work, because if you're working, you're bringing more money. They could tax you more, and they have a larger tax base to get money from. So any accounts where, it's either too good to be true, or any accounts where, they don't want people to kind of abuse the system, they'll put lower limits on. And we'll discuss that in a separate video when we're regarding to HSAs, because HSAs, oh my goodness, HSAs is underrated. It's actually kind of dangerous, dangerously good, right? Not dangerous as in you're doing something wrong. But now that I explained everything to you, with the 401ks and IRAs, they do have some similar rules and regulations that you need to follow in order for you to maximize, to be able to do this. So the first thing is that with these accounts, right, the 401k and IRA, these are structured as retirement accounts. So there are some leeways with the 401k and IRA where you could take your money out a little bit earlier. You could, get a loan against it. You may heard of a 401k loan where people take a loan of this. This is where things start to get a little dangerous, because if you're not careful, you could easily not only pay a significant amount of interest, but if you are under the age of 59 and a half, sorry, I usually just say 60, but technically it's 59 and a half, and you tap into these funds, whether it's the 401k or the IRA, you'll actually get hit with the taxes. So the whole benefit of this account was tax efficient investing, whether it's on the front or back end. But if you're paying taxes, that negates the benefit of using it. And you would also have to pay the IRS a penalty. I don't know exactly how much, maybe 10, 15%. I'm not too sure on the penalty amount, but you will pay taxes based on how much you withdraw. And it'll show up on your tax return when you file your tax return with your CPA or by yourself or whatever. It'll show up as earned income. So even though you didn't make that money, because it is now taxable, it adds to your whole taxable income, which means you'll pay overall more taxes for that year. So just be very, very considerate and mindful of that. Also, there's also like income limitations. I believe specifically for like the Roth, right? So if you make a certain amount of money, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think it's like about 150,000 if you're single, and I think it's like 200-some thousand if you're married, file joint. You're not able to directly invest, at least in the Roth IRA of the account, right? So what people tend to do is a backdoor Roth IRA. So they pretty much just make like they make a separate IRA. They pretty much do like contributions there, but they don't like claim the contributions as like tax deductible. So that way they do that, and then they convert that money into a Roth IRA. It's a whole thing that if you guys are curious about and interested enough, I may do a separate video on that sometime. But for the most part, there's income limits. So make sure you check with the IRS website. I'll put a link in the description below of the official IRS website so that everything I'm saying you guys could kind of rail over in. And I probably should have said this at the beginning of the video. I am not a financial advisor, so I'm not telling you to invest in the 401k and IRA. I'm telling you what I have been doing and why it's so important and very strong. So to kind of summarize everything, 401ks, IRAs are two of many investment vehicles that the IRS will allow you to use to not only contribute into your investment portfolio specifically for retirement, but also be able to get tax benefits. And anyone that knows about the government will only give you tax benefits if it benefits them, right? So like if you start a business, the reason why the tax code benefits business owners is that business owners, not only when they're making more money, the government could tax them more, but at the same time, they bring in employees, which then the government could tax them. So it's kind of like that, right? It's like scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's the same thing. The government doesn't want to have to go, doesn't want to support you too heavily in your retirement years, because at that point you're not really contributing that much into the system. Like if you're retired, you're not working, you're not giving your labor, you're just consuming at that point. So what the IRS says is like, okay, before we allow just a whole multiple generations of people that are retired but can't afford it, let's offer these tax advantage accounts to get them to invest, so that way essentially we don't have to babysit them in their older years. That's kind of the idea. But that's the video. I don't want to make it to go too long. Thank you guys for everything. It's Richardson from Minimum Wage to Millionaire. May the Lord be with you guys all today. Signing out. Peace.